Yes. Part 2. Part 2. Taking a shit on your ass. Alright. To do. Okay. So this is protocol number 3. We read 1 and 2. Now, I'm going to try to get 3, 4, and 5 because 5 is the real important one. Today, I may tell you that our goal is now only a few steps off. This was in the 1800s, yo. There remains a small space to cross, and the whole long path that we have trodden is ready now to close its cycle of the symbolic snake, the Ouroboros, by which we symbolize our people. So they're the serpent people. Man, I already broke down a lesson showing you that they are the Nakash in the scriptures and all that shit. Broke down the Hebrew, but you guys wouldn't know nothing about that, huh? Right? Yeah, I'm just an asshole, right? Don't know shit, right? Didn't never bring out scriptures to break down Hebrew, right? When this ring closes, all the states of Europe will be locked in its coil as in a powerful vice. The constitution scales of these days will shortly break down. So your beloved constitution is going to break down. For we have established them with a certain lack of accurate balance in order that they may oscillate or, rust incessantly until they wear through the pivot on which they turn. This is very close. The Goyim are under the impression that they have welded them sufficiently strong and that they all along kept on expecting that the scales would come into equilibrium. So everyone thinks it's just going to balance out because they keep doing this up-down thing. It's like, oh, we go through highs and lows. Well, eventually it's just... And it says, but the pivots, the kings on their thrones, are hemmed in by the representatives who play the fool. Distraught with their own uncontrolled and irresponsible power, this power they owe to the terror which has been breathed into the palaces. And they, by no means of getting at their people, that into their very midst, the kings on their thrones are no longer able to come into terms with them, and so strengthen themselves against the seekers after power. And all this shit happened long ago. We have made a gulf between the far-seeing sovereign power, which is the Most High, and the blind force of the people, so that both have lost all meaning. For like the blind man and his stick, both are powerless apart. So see, they try to say this is why the Masons speak the old formidable God. See, they figured because they separated us from the Most High that they can do away with both. They say we're like a blind man without a stick, which is true with our people, and they're Rob Racks and all them fools are even worse because they're the false prophets leading us into destruction. And go watch Tabak's video, man. Torah Night Ninehood. Torah Night Ninehood. Go to my friends list if you have to. Go check that shit out. He destroys y'all false prophets. Alright, all praises to the Most High. Let's keep it going. In order to incite seekers after power to a misuse of power, we have set all forces in opposition one to another. They control both sides, breaking up their liberal tendencies towards independence. To this end, we have stirred up every form of enterprise. We have armed all parties. We have set up authority as a target for every ambition. So see, this is what Lexwell wants. Lexwell wants authority over here, but he thinks he's like the fucking some prince king or some shit spoken of in the Apocalypse of Abraham. Some fucking stupid shit. So look, they have armed all parties, man. Even Torah Knights, they're fucking in our group, man. These snakes are being weeded out right now. Of the states, we have made gladiatorial arenas where a lot of confused issues contend. They're doing this in the Hebrew state as well, you fucking retards. A little more and disorders and bankruptcy will be universal. Can't wait for that. Babblers, inexhaustible, have turned into oratorical contests. This is Signetter TV and the camps. This is what they are. They are babblers, inexhaustible, and have turned into oratorical or orators contests, debates, right? The sittings of parliament and administrative boards. Bold journalists and unscrupulous pamphleteers daily fall upon executive officials. Abuses of power will put the final touch in preparing all institutions for their overthrow, and everything will fly skyward under the blows of the maddened mob. All your camps are going to get turned on by your people.
Yes, sir.
They're going to end up killing you guys, man. Tabak warned you, Rob. He said they were going to kill your ass, man. They're going to find out you teaching lies, and they're going to kill your ass, motherfucker. God, you guys are stupid.
See?
All people are chained down to heavy toil by poverty more firmly than ever. They are chained by slavery and serfdom. From these, one and another, they might free themselves. These could be settled with, but from want they will never get away. We have included in the Constitution such rights as to the masses appear fictitious and not actual rights. All these so-called people's rights can exist only in an idea that can never be realized in practical life. You have no rights. The only rights you have are the rights the Most High gave you. And you guys refuse to exercise them. But you'll try to exercise these laws. Man, y'all are dumb. What is it to the proletariat laborer, bowed double over his heavy toil, crushed by his lot in life, if talkers get the right to babble, if journalists get the right to scribble any nonsense side by side with good stuff, which is what's happening now. We're being heavy toiled and crushed while these journalists just run around saying the good with the bad. It says the proletariat has no other profit out of the Constitution save only the pitiful crumbs which we fling them over our table in return for their voting in favor of what we dictate. So they throw you scraps. Like your Jesus threw that woman scraps. They throw you scraps. And like, oh, vote for us. Vote or die. And they got coons like fucking stupid pt and shit. Man, motherfucker needs to get slapped in his mouth. In favor of the men we place in power, the servants of our agentors. So even these people in power, even though they're masons and all that shit, they're still servants. They still serve someone. Republican rights for a poor man are no more than a bitter piece of irony. So here's your choices. If you go Republican, for the necessity he is under of toiling almost day gives him no present use of them. So basically they'll give you a bunch of jobs under the Republicans, but you'll work so damn much that you're not going to be able to enjoy your shit. But the other hand, democracy robs him of all guarantee of regular and certain earnings. This is why unemployment's so high. By the making him dependent on strikes by his comrades or lockouts by masters. You guys are stupid. The people under our guidance have annihilated the aristocracy, who were their one and only defense and foster mother for the sake of their own advantage, which is inseparably bound with the well-being of the people. So basically what they're saying is these aristocracies, these kingdoms, these kingships were our only defense, which is not true. The Most High is our only defense. But they say that, you know, those are the only defense we have against them, because they're the king, he is inseparably bound. His success depends on the success of the people. You know what I mean? Well, of course not. You don't know history. And let's keep going. It says, nowadays, with the destruction of the aristocracy, the peoples have fallen into the grips of merciless money-grinding scoundrels who have laid a pitiless and cruel yoke upon the necks of the workers. Oh, serving in Babylon? The yoke? How come they use these types of words? You guys gotta learn how to pick this shit up, man. It says, we appear on the scene as alleged saviors of the worker from this oppression when we propose to him to enter the ranks of our fighting forces, socialists, anarchists, communists, to whom we always give support in accordance with an alleged brotherly rule of the solidarity of all humanity of our social masonry. So they use masonry, they use socialistic masonry to get all you guys under control. The aristocracy, which enjoyed by laws the labor of the workers, was interested in seeing that the workers were well-fed, healthy, and strong. We are interested in just the opposite. So the Jews don't want that. What do they want? We, in the diminution, or they want to diminish you, the killing out of the goyim. They want to kill you. Our power, check this how deep this shit is. Our power is in the chronic shortness of food and physical weakness of the worker, because all that this implies, he is made a slave of our will. So they purposely deprive us of food. And then all the food that they do have out there is all GMO and shit. They're doing this on purpose, man. They're keeping us weak so that we would be their slaves, man. And he will not find in his own authorities either strength or energy to set against our will. Hunger creates the right of capital to rule the workers more surely than it has given to the aristocracy by the legal authority of kings. They control you with food. By want and envy and hatred. Didn't it say we would be in want of all things? And, Ephraim is envious of Judah, and Judah hates Ephraim. Which it engenders, we shall move the mobs, and with their hands we shall wipe out all those who hinder us on our way. They're using you guys. When the hour strikes for our sovereign Lord of the world to be crowned, it is these same hands. I thought the Pope was king. I thought the Pope was emperor. When the hour strikes for our sovereign Lord of all the hour, this is Jewish, sovereign Lord of all the world to be crowned, it is these same hands which will sweep away everything that might be a hindrance thereto. What does Lex will say? Oh, we'll move the people rioting in Baltimore down to the Pope's embassy. What the fuck are you doing? It says, the Goyim have lost the habit of thinking unless prompted by the suggestion of our specialists. This is why I say you guys don't think anymore. This is why I even feel bad for arguing with Rob Brack, because he's a retard. This is why I tell the motherfucker to go put his helmet on and avoid sharp corners. Because he lost the habit to think. Y'all don't think. This is not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not your thoughts. Your thoughts were prompted by suggestions of their specialists. You have not your own thoughts, you stupid motherfuckers. You're programmed, man. What's up? Get their ass.
You better get that Torah, man. You better get that.
Gotta get that Torah. What the hell's wrong with y'all, man? Fucking idiots. It says, therefore, they do not see the urgent... Let's get that one more time. The Goyim have lost the habit of thinking, unless prompted by the suggestion of our specialists. Therefore, they do not see the urgent necessity of what we, when our kingdom comes, shall adopt at once, namely this, that it is essential to teach in national schools one simple, true piece of knowledge, the basis of all knowledge, the knowledge of the structure of human life, of social existence, which requires divisions of labor and consequently the divisions of men into classes and conditions, the caste system. It is essential for all to know that owing to differences in the objects of human activity, there cannot be any equality. That he who by any act of his compromises a whole class cannot be equally responsible for the law with him who affects no one but his own, only his own honor. So they're gonna divide everyone up in classes, man. Back again, that communism was created by these idiots. It's basically Jewish communism that's going to rule this world. That's the New World Order. The true knowledge of the structure of society, into the secrets of which we do not admit to the Goyim, or we do not admit the Goyim, would demonstrate to all men that the positions and work must be kept within a certain circle, that they may not become a source of human suffering arising from an education which does not correspond with the work which individuals are called upon to do. So they want to keep you fucking dumb and educate you in a certain fucking position. They're only going to give real knowledge. The mystery schools are back. After a thorough study of this knowledge, the peoples will voluntarily submit to authority and accept such position as it is appointed them in the state. In the present state of knowledge and the direction we have given to its development of people, blindly believing things in print, cherishes, thanks to promptings intended to mislead and to its own ignorance, a blind hatred towards all conditions in which it considers above itself, for it has no understanding of the meaning of class and condition. So they basically got you guys hating on anything that's different from you, whether it be right or wrong. They've got you mind fucked, yo. This hatred will be still further magnified by the effects of an economic crisis, which will stop dealing on the exchanges and bring industry to a standstill. We shall create by all the secret subterranean methods open to us, and with the aid of gold, which is in all our hands, a universal economic crisis whereby we shall throw upon the streets whole mobs of workers simultaneously in all the countries of Europe. These mobs will rush delightedly to shed the blood of those whom, in the simplicity of their ignorance, they have envied from their cradles, and whose property they will then be able to loot. So they're going to turn the rich against the poor. They're going to turn class against class, everybody against everybody, man. And these motherfucking mobs are going to come slay out everybody, man.
Oh, y'all.
Oh, man, it's going to be so bad. Ours, they will not touch. So see, the Jews, they're like, ours they will not touch, because the moment of attack will be known to us, and we shall take measures to protect our own. This is what the synagogues and shit are for. They let you know all these things. We have demonstrated that progress will bring all the goyim to the sovereignty of reason. Our despotism, their communism, will be precisely that, for it will know how, by wise severities, to pacificate all unrest. They're going to be severe, man. They're going to come down on people to castorize or to carterize liberalism of all institutions, out of all institutions. So they're going to take out your liberty, man. First, they mind-fucked you with this word called liberty, and then they're going to take it away from you. When the populace has seen all sorts of concessions and indulgences are yielded, which is happening now, it, in the name of freedom, it has imagined itself to be sovereign lord and has stormed on its way to power. This is America. But naturally, like every other blind man, it has come upon a host of stumbling blocks. It has rushed to find a guide. It has never had the sense to return to the former state. And it has laid down its plenipotentiary powers at our feet. Remember the French Revolution, to which it was we who gave the name of great. The secrets of its preparations are well known to us, for it was wholly the work of our hands. See, they have controlled everything, man. They control all the wars, they control all the sides, and they've been doing it for a long ass fucking time. Let's get it going. Let's keep going. Ever since that time, we have been lending the peoples from one disenchantment, leading the peoples from one disenchantment to another. So then, in the end, they should turn from also from us in favor of that king of the despot blood of Zion, whom we are preparing for the world. So they even want people to go against the Jews, just that, so they could bring this whole so-called new dude in, which is just the same old shit, so that everybody will depend on him. At the present day, we are in an international as an international force invincible. They think they're invincible because if attacked by some, we are supported by other states. It is bottomless rascality of the Goyim peoples who crawl on their bellies to force, but are merciless towards weakness, unsparing to faults and indulgent to crimes, unwilling to bear the contradictions of a free social system, but patient unto martyrdom under the violence of a bold despotism. It is those qualities which are aiding us to independence. From the premier dictators of the present day, the Goyim people suffer patiently and bear such abuses as for the least of them they would have beheaded 20 kings. So basically they got people mind-fucked with all these dictators to where, you know, they would have decapitated 20 kings by now, but now they just take it. What is the explanation of this phenomenon? This curious unconsequence of the masses, of the peoples in their attitude towards what would appear to be events of the same order. It is explained by the fact that these dictators whisper to the peoples through their agents that through these abuses they are inflicting injury on the state with the highest purpose, to secure the welfare of the peoples. Oh, it's for the greater good. The international brotherhood of them all, their solidarity and equality of rights. But I thought they didn't have no equality. Naturally, they do not tell the peoples that this unification must be accomplished only under our sovereign ruler. So they view it to where only their sovereign ruler can reign. Right? Let's get it. Let's keep it going. And thus the people condemn the upright and acquit the guilty. What? Isn't that what's happening now? Huh? I'm getting condemned, but these motherfucking guilty assholes are just being let off the hook? Persuaded ever more and more that it can do whatsoever it wishes. Thanks to this state of things, the people are destroying every kind of stability and creating disorders on every step. The word freedom brings out the communities of men to fight against every kind of force, against every kind of authority, even against God and the laws of nature. See, because it's not about freedom. Yes, it's about freedom from these damn devils, but it's not about freedom. We're supposed to be under the laws of the Most High. What's up, Bob?
This is talking about you right here and what you're doing right now.
You got it or what?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
See, mark that down. Mark that down for me. Oh, man, we got something special coming for y'all, man. Tabak's going to release a goddamn firestorm on your asses. Oh, I can't wait for that one. Against God. Okay, so for this reason, we, when we come into our kingdom, shall have to erase this word from the lexicon of life. as implying a principle of brute force which turns mobs into bloodthirsty beasts. So they're going to change the word of freedom to mean this once they come into their rule, because they can't have you doing to them what they're having you do to the whole world. These beasts, it is true, fall asleep again every time when they have drunk their fill of blood, and at such time can easily be riveted into their chains. But if they be not given blood, they will not sleep and continue to struggle. So see, they're not being given blood right now, so that they get all restless and antsy and get all fucking crazy, and then all of a sudden they're just going to unleash them in bloodshed all over the fucking place. Protocol number 4. Every republic passes through several stages. The first of these is compromised in the early days of mad raging by the blind mob, tossed here and there, right and left. The second is a demagogy from which is born anarchy, which is what's happening now, and leads inevitably to despotism, not any longer illegal and overt, and therefore responsible despotism, but to unseen and secretly hidden, yet nevertheless sensibly felt despotism in the hands of some secret organization or other, which is these guys, whose acts are more unscrupulous inasmuch as it works behind a screen, behind the backs of all sorts of agents, the changing of whom not only does not injuriously affect, but actually aids the secret force by saving it. So the fact that they could just interchange all these people out with whoever actually saves these motherfuckers, because it makes you seem like you could do something about it. Thanks to continental changes, from the necessity of expanding its resources on the rewarding of long services. Who and what is in a position to overthrow an invincible force? And this is precisely what our force is. Man, so they're even boasting against the Most High. Gentile masonry blindly serves as a screen for us and our objects. What? The Pope is the head of everything. Shut the fuck up. He's a goddamn fucking Gentile. All Gentile masonry. It's all about the Jews, man. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's all about these motherfuckers. If you're not taking shit and listening to these motherfuckers, you ain't getting the real shit. You know, and that's not saying, you know, don't take me wrong, because it's all about the Torah, and the Most High is the one that gives us all knowledge and all freedom, and that's the only truth, and that's the only book you won't get no lies out of. But if you want the history, if you want what's really going on in this goddamn world, you gotta go to these motherfuckers, because they hold all the goddamn keys. They're in control, man. What don't you fucking get? Oh, let's see people twist my words on that one, right? Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Let's continue. Where were we at? Oh, yeah. Gentile masonry blindly serves as a screen for us and our objects, but the plan of action of our force, even its very abiding place, remains for the whole people an unknown mystery. So everyone doesn't really know what's going on, because they don't understand that these damn Amalekites are the head, the Rash of all the nations. But even freedom might be harmless and have its place in the state economy without injury to the well-being of the peoples if it rested upon the foundation of faith in God, upon the brotherhood of humanity, unconnected with the conception of equality, which is negatived by the very laws of creation. For they have established subordination. With such a faith as this, a people might be governed by a wardship of parishes, and would walk contentedly and humbly under the guidance hand of its spiritual pastor, submitting to the dispositions of God upon earth. So see, they even tell you, man, real righteous governing, real righteous shit can come if you worship God, if you worship the Most High. But this is the reason why it is indispensable for us to undermine all faith, to tear of minds out of the Goyim the very principle of Godhead and the Spirit, and to put in its place arithmetical calculations and material needs. Your science, your math, all your fucking bullshit that you're trying to justify yourself with. Kazawani, bitch. Material needs, man. In order to give the Goyim no time to think and take note, their minds must be diverted towards industry and trade. So they got you off on industry and trade. Thus, all the nations will be swallowed up in the pursuit of gain and in the race for it will not take notice of their common foe. But again, in order for freedom may once and for all disintegrate and ruin the communities of the Goyim, we must put industry on a speculative basis. The result of this will be that what is withdrawn from the land by industry will slip through the hands and pass into speculation, so that So that is to our classes. So basically, they're, no jobs and the stability and blah, 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 blah. All this shit was planned a long fucking time ago. They're just executing this shit, man, to a T. The intensified struggle of superiority and shocks delivered to economic life will create, nay, have already created, disenchanted, cold, and heartless communities. Such communities will foster a strong aversion towards the higher political and towards religion. Their only guide is gain, that is gold, which they will erect into a veritable cult for the sake of those material delights which it can give. Then will the hour strike them, not for the sake of attaining the good, not even to win the wealth, but solely out of hatred towards the privileged. The lower classes of the Goyim will follow overhead against our rivals for power and intellectuals of the Goyim. So all you people are going to rise up against your great teachers and your fucking, all your men that have all the money and all this shit. They're going to rise up, man, this maddened mob, and they're going to come for your asses, and they're going to kill you motherfuckers. Alright, this is the last protocol we're going to get, and then I'm going to call it a quits. But this is the important one. This is the reason why we even came here. What form of administrative rule can be given to communities in which corruption has penetrated everywhere? Communities where riches are attained only by the clever surprise tactics of semi-swindling tricks, where looseness reigns, where morality is maintained by penal measures and harsh laws, but not by voluntary accepted principles, where the feelings towards faith and country are obligated by cosmopolitan convictions. This is all what's happening now. What form of rule is it to be given to these communities, if not the despotism which I will describe to you later? So basically, they say that you can't be ruled by anything but them. We shall create an intensified centralization of government in order to grip in our hands all the forces of the community. We shall regulate mechanically all the actions of the political life in our subjects by new laws. These laws will withdraw one by one all the indulgences and liberties which have been permitted by the Goyim, and our kingdom will be distinguished by a despotism of such magnificent proportions as to be at any moment and in every place in a position to wipe out any Goyim who oppose us by deed or word. And that's how they have it now. We shall be told that such a despotism as I speak is not consistent with the progress of these days, but I will prove to you that it is. In times when the peoples looked up towards the kings and the thrones, and on the pure manifestation of the will of God, they submitted without a murmur to the despotic powers of kings. For from the day when they insinuated into their minds the conception of their own rights, they began to regard the occupants of thrones as mere ordinary mortals. So they stopped taking the fact that, like the Most High set up David, people stopped believing in that, so that they were just able to do whatever they want, their own morals, right? The holy unction of the Lord's anointed had fallen from the heads of kings in the eyes of the people, and when we also robbed them of their faith in God, the might of power was flung upon the streets into the place of public proprietorship and was seized by us. And that's like what the camps did, man. They fooled the camps into going out and teaching and street teaching and all this shit. That way they could take them over, and now they have them controlled to where they're spewing out so much bullshit that they have everybody fucking confused and ready to just give up on everything. Moreover, the art of directing masses and individuals by means of cleverly manipulated theory and verbiage, by regulations of life in common and all sorts of other quirks, in all which the Goyim understand nothing, belongs likewise to the specialists of our administrative brain, reared on analysis and observation, which is witchcraft, on delicacies of fine calculation. In this species of skill, we have no rivals. So they're the best at watching people and mind fucking and psychology and all that shit they claim. Any more than we have neither in the drawing up of plans of political actions and solidarity. This goes along with the scriptures when it says that the king of Tyre, the prince of Tyre, thinks he's smarter than fucking Daniel, man. Right? In this respect, the Jesuits alone might have compared with us, but we have contrived to discredit them in the eyes of the unthinking mob as an overt organization, while we ourselves all the while have kept our secret organizations in the shade. So basically, they're like, oh yeah, well the Jesuits are really good at what we do. They do the same because the Jesuits were set up by them. And they're like, oh, well, the Jesuits do a pretty good job like us, but we kind of threw them in the light and under the bus so that we could keep our shit hidden. However, it is probably all the same to the world who is the sovereign Lord, whether the head of Catholicism or our despot of the blood of Zion, but to us, the chosen people, it is very far from being a matter of indifference. So they don't give a fuck, but we know that through Manly P. Hall and everybody, they're going to take down the Catholic Church. They're going to take down everything, so they're going to raise up their own blood of Zion. For a time, perhaps, we might be successfully dealt with by a coalition of the Goyim of all the world. But from this danger we are secured by the discourse existing among them whose roots are so deeply seated that they can never now be plucked up. So they got the other nations fighting against themselves over stupid shit so bad that no one wants to rise up against the Jews. We have set one against another personal and national reckonings of the Goyim. See? They're doing that right now to us. Religious and race hatreds which have fostered into a huge growth in the course of the past 20 centuries. See? They've got you hating what race we know doesn't even fucking exist, but that's what they've got you hating. Oh, I hate the fucking natives. I hate the Mexicans. You're doing exactly what they want. This is the reason why there is not one state which would anywhere receive support if it were to raise its arm. For every one of them must bear in mind that any agreement against us would be unprofitable to itself. We are too strong. There is no evading our power. The nations cannot come to even an inconsiderable private agreement without our secretly having a hand in it. So these nations can't even do shit without the motherfucking Jews knowing about it nowadays. You don't think it's the same with us? Por mi regres regnant. It is through me that the kings reign, and it was said by the prophets that we are chosen by God Himself to rule over the whole earth. Yeah, the real Hebrews, your God fucking is Satan. God has endowed us with genius that we may be equal to our task. Were genius in the opposite camp, it would still struggle against us. So they look at how, man, they speak of themselves so highly. But even so, a newcomer is no match for the old established settler. The struggle would be merciless between us, such a fight as the world has never seen. And this is what's coming up, man. The actual eternal struggle of good versus evil. Amalek versus Jacob. But y'all don't know nothing about that. It says, what do we got? And the genius on their side would have arrived too late. So see, they think we've arrived too late. All the wheels of the machinery and the states go by the force of the engine, which is in our hands, and the engine of the machinery of state is gold. The science of political economy invented by our learned elders has for the long past been giving royal prestige to capital. So see, they control everything, right? This is where it's going to get good and bomb all your asses. Capital is if it is to be cooperate, untrammeled, must be free to establish a monopoly of industry and trade. This is already being put into execution by an unseen hand in all quarters of the world, and they succeeded in that. This freedom will give political force to those engaged in industry, and that will help to oppress the people. Nowadays, it is more important to disarm the peoples than to lead them into war. And is that not what they were trying to do? To disarm everybody, right? More important to use for our advantage the passions which have burst into flames than to quench their fire. So they would rather get you guys up and ready to fucking riot and tear down the whole place than to quench your fire. More important to catch up the ideas of others to suit ourselves than to eradicate them. So instead of just having the Toranites disappear, they would rather come in and catch up and interpret our ideas for others to suit themselves, which is what Rob, Rack, and Lex are doing. The principal object of our dictatorate consists in this: the deliberate to debilitate the public mind by criticism, to lead it away from serious reflections calculated to arouse resistance, to distract the force of the mind towards the sham fight of empty eloquence. And you guys all fell into that. In all the ages of the people of the world, equally with individuals, have accepted words for deeds, and they are content with a show. That's what Lexwell gives you, a show. That's what Rob Brack gives you, a show. They're actors, for they are content with a show and rarely pause to note in the public arena whether promises are followed by performances. These guys don't follow the law. Therefore, we shall establish a show institutions which will give eloquent proof to their benefit to progress. So see, they are establishing show institutions. That's what all these, they're show institutions, man. We shall assume to ourselves the liberal physiognomy of all parties, of all directions, and we shall give the physiognomy a voice in orators, which is Lexwell and Rob and all these, who will speak to so much that they will exhaust the patience of their hearers and produce an abhorrence for oratory. This is what the camps are doing. They purposely are getting these people to exhaust everybody's patience so people don't even want to hear the word anymore. In order to put public opinion into our hands, we must bring it into a state of bewilderment by giving expression from all sides to so many contradictory opinions, which Rob, Rack, and Lex Will and all these fools constantly contradict themselves, and for such a length of time as will suffice to make the Goyim lose their heads in a labyrinth and come to see that the best thing is to have no opinion of any kind in any matters political. Oh, I don't want to choose sides, man. No. You fell right into their labyrinth, you fucking bitches. Which it is not given to the public to understand, because they are understood only by him who guides the public. This is the first secret. Oh, this one applies to all y'all. This one's about to drop a bomb on your ass. The second secret requisite for the success of our government is comprised in the following: to multiply to such an extent national failings, habits, passions, conditions of civil life, that it will be impossible for anyone to know where he is in the resulting chaos. Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what group to follow. I don't know. So that the people in consequence will fail to understand one another. This measure will also serve us in another way, namely to sow discord in all parties. To dislocate all collective forces which are still unwilling to submit to us. Isn't that what the Torah Knights do? And to discourage any kind of personal initiative which might in any degree hinder our affair. Isn't that why you guys want me off the internet so bad? Isn't that why you guys want to destroy me so bad and put my name through the mud so bad? Because my personal initiative is hindering you guys. There is nothing more dangerous than personal initiative. If it has genius behind it, and I'm sorry, but that's y'all motherfuckers say I know the scriptures more than you yourselves. And you guys don't even know. And that's the blessings from the Most High, man. It's not my fault. Like I said, I'm like Joseph right now, being persecuted by all my older brothers because it just so happens I'm younger than all you guys. I'm like the youngest going out here teaching right now. And because of that, all y'all hate me because of the knowledge I possess, because I was given a coat of many colors, and y'all are hating on me. Why? Because if it has genius behind it, if personal initiative has genius behind it, which I have initiative, such initiative can do more than can be done by millions of people among whom we have sown discord. I could do more damage. Tabak can do more damage. Fucking Dan and all the brothers who are really pushing this truth and really doing what's up, we can do more damage than millions of people who have sown discord. We must so direct the education of the Goyim communities that whenever they come upon a matter requiring initiative, they may drop their heads in despairing impotence. This is why they wanted me to stop. They wanted to come at me so hard and make me look like such a fool in front of Israel that I just stopped. Why? Because I started bringing this shit out. The strain which results from freedom of action saps the forces when it meets with the freedom of another. From this collision arise grave moral shocks, disenchantments, and failures. By all these means we shall so wear down the Goyim that they will be compelled to offer us international power of a nature that by its position will enable us without any violence gradually to absorb all the state forces of the world and to form a super government, which is happening right now. In place of the rulers of today, we shall set up a bogey which will be called the super government. Administration. Its hands will reach out in all directions like nippers, and its organization will be of such colossal dimensions that it cannot fail to subdue all the nations of the world. And you guys are playing into that fucking bullshit. How fucking stupid are all of you to let them come in and do this to our group? I fucking warned you all about this shit a long time ago. Now watch what happens.